Hey everyone, it's Lisa from the blog farmhouseonboone.com, and today I have a lot of summer food prep to do. Summer is in full swing, which means that tomatoes, cucumbers, herbs, zucchini, all are in abundance. We also have a unique abundance this year since we got our dairy cow, milk. So much milk, we've been drinking it with everything, making yogurt and kefir, and the other day Luke said, we aren't gonna get ahead of this, just so you know. We aren't, but I am going to try my best, and I'm also going to be giving some milk to my sister on a regular basis now, at least while we are swimming in it like we are right now. But one thing that I always wanted to do was make my own homemade cheese. So today, I'm gonna make a few things in the kitchen. I'm going to use up garden cucumbers in a cucumber mango salsa, make fresh mozzarella from the milk from our Jersey cow, some garden fresh stuffed peppers for lunch, and finish the night with a homemade Margarita pizza with sourdough starter, some homemade mozzarella cheese, and all of those fresh tomatoes and basil from the garden. The first thing on my list today is the cucumber mango salsa. This is something I discovered when my second child was a baby, so 10 years ago, as the most perfect way to use up cucumbers. We aren't huge fans of cucumbers in this family, except for pickles and this particular salsa. Now the salsa is more for the adults because I like to add some jalapenos to it, but it is the best way to use up a whole bunch of cucumbers. I can sit on the couch with a huge bowl of it and some tortilla chips and down who knows how many cucumbers in one sitting. This salsa is made from just a few easy ingredients: fresh cucumbers, ripe mangoes, cilantro, jalapenos, salt, and the juice from one lime. Now with this salsa, you can peel the cucumbers, and if you're wanting a lighter salsa, that is probably a good idea. Personally, I just leave them. I will peel the mangoes though, because their peels aren't good. But with the cucumbers, it's just a lot easier, saves a step, and I grew these organically in my garden, so I'm not worried about the quality. Then I'm just going to cut around the pit of the mango and then finally chop it. Now what you're gonna find with this salsa is it gets better with time. So you're gonna put it in the fridge for a few hours. Now sometimes we do eat this right away just because I'm making it and we want it, but it gets significantly better as the flavors have a chance to sit and melt together. I like to dice my cucumber as finely as possible. Just helps the flavors to blend a little bit better. Next, I'm going to get a jalapeno diced up. Now I like to leave seeds and all. This depends on how spicy they are. Jalapenos I find are pretty hit or miss. Sometimes I get one that tastes almost like a bell pepper, and sometimes I get one that tastes like a ghost pepper. You never know what you're gonna get, but thankfully for us, we both, Luke and I, love spice. So no matter what, we're gonna love this. But no matter what, the kids are not gonna like this. So if you're making this for kids, I would definitely recommend leaving the jalapeno out. But you're gonna lose a lot of flavor. And to be honest, kids don't love this salsa anyway. This is a treat for us. Okay, I'm also gonna sprinkle in some fresh lime juice. Now, notice there's no measurements here. I'm just doing everything to taste. I have not found a combination of this that isn't delicious, so you really cannot mess it up, honestly. Last but not least at all, you have to have this, fresh cilantro. This makes it so good. I think this plus the lime juice is why it has to sit a while. They just all incorporate together. And then you just want to give it a stir. Add salt to taste. This will depend on how many cucumbers and mangoes you used. I like to have a bag of chips on hand to taste test. So I just add, you know, a sprinkle, taste it, another sprinkle, and then throw this in the fridge. And tonight, I'm gonna sit on the couch and have a wonderful snack. Now, I'm not gonna bore you with this, but I'm going to double this recipe and get at least one more mango, cucumber, jalapeno going. Maybe even throw in an extra cucumber just because we have so many, so that we can have this for days. Today's video is brought to you by Thrive Market. I love using Thrive Market in my home for all the types of things that I just can't find locally. It is an online grocery store with organic, natural foods. I get things like supplements and nuts and dried fruit and coconut aminos, einkorn flour. Those are just things that my store that I love to frequent does not have. Some of those things like macadamia nuts or einkorn pasta or organic maple syrup are things that I just can't find at the store that I frequent. I love the way that the Thrive Market website and app are organized, so you can shop by dietary preference, whether you're gluten-free, dairy-free. If you do all organic or paleo, you can shop by that. They do offer 2 membership options, so you can either save a little money and pay upfront for the year, or you can test it out month to month at $9.95. I love searching by the Thrive Market brand. It's like their in-house grocery store brand because I can find the best deals and they have so many organic options. Thrive Market is offering my viewers 25% off your first order and a free gift when you use my link thrivemarket.com/farmhouse on Boone. Right, next I'm going to get some stuffed peppers going for lunch. We have so many peppers growing in our garden, everything from bell peppers to jalapenos, some random yellow pepper that I don't even know what it is, but I do know that it's spicy. I forget what I planted. And so I want to use some of them up today with stuffed peppers. Going to cut them in half down the middle, remove the seeds, drizzle with olive oil, and then get them into a 425-degree oven to roast a bit while I work on the filling. For the filling, I am doing a pound of beef and a pound of sausage. Now, these won't fill up the number of peppers that we're gonna do for lunch, so I will just reserve some in a dish in the refrigerator, and we will use it in eggs or tacos just throughout the week. While those peppers are roasting before I add my meat, I'm going to feed my starter so that tonight I will have a whole bunch so I can make about 4 pizzas in my cast iron skillets. Is probably what I'll do, maybe more. So I'm just gonna feed a whole bunch of flour and water. I fed this about 24 hours ago, so it's nice and hungry. So it'll be bubbly in this warm kitchen in probably about 4 hours. Going to add a diced onion, lots of fresh garlic, some fresh basil from the garden, as well as more tomatoes because we have so many. Once the peppers have roasted a bit to give them a little bit more flavor, them softer, I'm going to stuff them with the meat and tomato and feta cheese mixture, top them with a little bit of shredded cheddar cheese, and then bake them until it is all melted and toasty, and then we will enjoy those for lunch. I'm gonna do a quick cleanup. We'll sit down and have lunch. We'll put the kids down for nap, and that's when I can work on making homemade mozzarella cheese and start getting some tomatoes roasting for the pizzas tonight. All right, the house is loud, but got some stuffed peppers. Just took the lid off of some sauerkraut that was fermenting, caraway seeds, so I'm super excited about that. So I'm gonna get everyone's plate served up so that we can get nap time going. The next thing I'm gonna make today is homemade mozzarella cheese. I am really excited about this. It's something that I've actually brand new to, but I've been wanting to try it out for a long time. And then now that we have so much milk from our cow, there's really no excuse not to. So what I have for my tools and supplies, I have a gallon of milk, cheese salt. Now you could use any salt. You don't have to use cheese salt. The reason that I'm using this is it's really fine, so it'll incorporate better. I also have some citric acid and then animal rennet, which is what I will need to actually make the cheese setup. Now this milk will not get heated to pasteurization levels, but I will be heating it to about 100 degrees and then heating the cheese a bit more to actually form it. So let's see how this goes. I'm gonna start by adding 1/4 teaspoon of animal rennet to a little bit of water. I have 1/4 cup of water here. I'm using this Cultures for Health animal rennet. I actually bought this a long time ago because I was gonna make cheese with the goat milk, and we never had enough milk to make cheese with it. We just drank it all. But cows are a lot different than goats. I'm just gonna stir that and set it aside. And then I'm gonna get 1.5 teaspoons of citric acid going and about 1/4 cup of water. I watched several tutorials here on YouTube, and what usually happens is try the few things and then I figure out which parts of something is necessary or which part, I don't know, overcomplicates it. You get to a point where you know what you're doing and then you have your own method of doing it, but I'm still very new to this process. First thing I'm gonna do is add my citric acid to this large stock pot. Should be fully dissolved at this point. I don't see any citric acid in it, so we're good. And just give it a little stir. Okay, now I'm gonna add a gallon of milk. Now I'm just gonna heat this over about medium heat until it reaches 100 degrees. Now I'm gonna stir constantly. I don't want any hot pockets because I want to retain as much of the benefits of the raw milk as possible. So if you don't heat it super hot, all of that will still be there. So I'm just gonna stir constantly until it comes to 100 degrees. I do not have a fancy thermometer here. Maybe I will find the need for one, but at the moment it's just one of these. So appears to be about right. Now that it's at 100 degrees, I turned off the heat, and now I'm gonna slowly add in the rennet. I want to really incorporate it very well. This is what will actually turn it into curds and whey, or curds. So you need to make sure it's all incorporated so every part of the milk converts. I'm just gonna stir it for about a minute and then put the lid back on for about 10 to 15 minutes or until it gets nice and hard. As you can see here, I have some mozzarella cheese. I skipped lots of steps. This is not gonna be considered a tutorial. I'm just going to show you what I'm cooking for dinner. I'll talk about the pizza, but I feel like I don't really know what I'm doing with this yet, although I do think that I have a couple of fresh balls of mozzarella here to make pizza with, and so we'll see how that tastes. And when I get more experience on all of this, I'm going to be trying all different kinds of cheeses. I will share it with you all. It really is super tasty though. It's really good. All right, I wrapped up my mozzarella, put it in the fridge, and now I'm gonna get some fresh garden tomatoes roasting. This makes the best margarita pizza. I actually made this the other night. Everybody loved it, and so I'm going for it again. And then I'm gonna get my tomatoes roasting on the top shelf. Now, in order to get my pizzas going, I need to get several cast iron skillets preheating because we actually have guests coming tonight, so I need to get a lot of pizza going, and I have a way of getting a whole bunch going at once, even though my oven is not very big. So I'm just gonna throw this whole stack, just like this, I'm not even gonna separate them, into the oven. It preheats them just fine, I've learned. Even if they're not all individual, they all still get super hot. And then I'll show you what I do to actually condense this down so that I can get several crusts going at once. And now it's time for yet another cleanup. I'm just gonna set these roasted tomatoes aside and then get another pan of them going because I need a bunch for tonight's meal. Once these crusts bake a little bit more, they're able to be removed. So then I take my two small crusts, my two smaller cast iron skillets, and I put them on a baking sheet. This allows them to take up one rack of my oven. On the first batch of pizzas, I decided to shred the cheese and see how that goes. And then on this one, I'm gonna cut it into cubes and see how it melts in little small amounts. Just experimenting here.